Hello, and welcome. I'm so happy you're here today. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Magic is in You podcast. I'm so excited for you to tune in, tap in, and turn on that magnetic, energetic magic that's inside of you. My name is Kelsey, and I'm so stoked you're here today. I am a life and mindset coach, empowering badass women, growth-seeking women to step in, tune in, tap in, and turn on their magic so that they can intentionally become the architect of their lives, designing, creating, and cultivating, living a life that lights them up every single day. And I am so happy you're here today. Here is episode 3 of the Magic is in You podcast. This is a dream that I have had on my heart for years now, and it's one of those dreams that I intentionally put on hold for a little while because as I am a coach, I am also a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and I have been all sorts of building, growing, expanding in so many different ways, and I haven't been able to dedicate the time that I wanted to this podcast, the intention that I wanted to for this podcast, because I have so much intention, so much excitement to share on this podcast, to connect on this podcast, and to help spread magic and elevate magic that's within us already. Like, we always are out seeking magic for outside of us, that magic little spark that's going to make our life more enjoyable, more abundant, that magic spark that's going to make us feel enough, that magic spark that's going to make us feel complete, when all of those things that we're searching for are already inside of us. And that's not to say that we don't have to have desires to cultivate in this life, whether that is relationship, material desires, business desires, impact desires. We can have those, but knowing that the magic to create what we want is in our life, that's the secret sauce. That's the special stuff. That's where everything turns on in your life, and it's just where you can enjoy the journey, truly. So I thought about not recording this podcast today. In all honesty, it's one of those things where it's a new thing, it's fun, it's exciting, and it's also scary and unknown, and there's all sorts of newness still to it. That feeling of where you want to go somewhere, but it feels scary and kind of those old patterns wanting to hold you back. I could feel that kind of old tug trying to pull me back and into those old habits. But I'm committed, and I want to grow this podcast. I want to put my heart into this podcast. I woke up feeling a little bit tired, a little bit quote unquote off, and that is kind of where my day continued to, where it just didn't feel just flowy. And so this afternoon I've taken a little bit of time, a little extra time on my yoga mat. I did some movement, some shaking, some breath work, and just allowed myself to meet myself where I was at, move intuitively, and tap in back into my body. I had been in that overwhelmed, not so much overwhelmed, but that overthinking mind of go, 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 with all of the irons and all of the fires. And I just kind of had that point today where I was and I had wanted to do this podcast this week and hadn't quite gotten to record it at this point. And now it's Saturday, and I was okay, today's the day. Today is this perfect day where I have an opportunity to be able to tune and tap in and turn on my magic within inside myself by spending a little bit of extra time on my mat. And as I was moving my body, moving through breath work, moving my energy, and cultivating my magic, like I said, and turning it on within myself as a practice, this is something that I practice every single day. I was remembering back to when I really first started this magic tapping in practice. We'll call it that for now, as I'm just making that up off the cuff of my sleeve. Anyway, so it was actually 3 years ago today, July 27th, that I made a promise to myself. I made a commitment to myself. I decided and chose to embark on a 90-day personal yoga journey. And this was something that I had cultivated for myself to prove to myself that I could do something consistently every single day for 90 days that I could cultivate this for myself and cultivate this trust within myself. I saw this personal challenge that I made up and took on for myself as an opportunity to grow trust within myself, because there was some reasons from in the past where I just didn't really fully trust myself. Just like maybe you can relate to something that you've said that you've wanted to do, but you haven't taken action or didn't follow through with something or this or that. There's all sorts of things that we tend to do that break trust within ourselves, and it's not for any ill will, like I'm intentionally or you're intentionally trying to break trust with yourself. It's just because of the way our brain works. It's funny how, not funny, yeah, kind of funny, we'll call it funny because it's more fun to laugh at this, right? How powerful and incredible our brains are, that they want to keep us alive, they want to keep us surviving, which tends to keep us playing small and not fully tapping into our own magic, because it's keeping us on the same path that we were on yesterday. And if we weren't on a great path yesterday, it's not going to be necessarily a great path in the future unless we intentionally decide to carve out or map out the path that we decide to go down. So, long story short, 3 years ago today, I embarked on a 90-day personal yoga transformation journey for myself to grow my self-trust and prove to myself that I could do something every single day for 90 days. And part of what sparked this inspiration and this challenge for myself was a month prior to that, I had invested and committed to a 5-figure coaching program, which scared the living shit out of me, because this was the biggest investment I had pretty much ever made in personal growth, aside from some traditional education. Not pretty much, by far the biggest investment I had ever made in my personal growth. And I didn't know if it was going to work yet. And it was super scary because I felt like I needed this external thing to be able to tap into and learn all about where I wanted to go. And while yes, I absolutely believe in the power of coaching and mentorship, and it's completely helped me transform my life, it was also already within inside of me. And hiring a coach was allowing me to get to where I wanted to go faster. And part of this coaching program was a 90-day period within the program. It was a year-long program. And so this 90-day period within the program of every single day narratives. So to prove to myself that I would be ready for that, I chose to embark on a 90-day yoga journey. And during this journey, magic truly unfolded. So much personal growth, so much personal transformation. I was able to transform relationships, not just with myself, but with my loved ones as well, able to grow them, deepen them, because I was able to fully show up authentically as myself. Turned out that tuning in, tapping and turning on my magic every day intentionally by meeting myself where I was at on the yoga mat, moving my body, tuning into my breath, tuning in and calming my mind, allowing myself to just be present here now in this moment in my body. I showed up as a better person in every other aspect of my life. Amazing how that works, right? When you show up for yourself, you can show up for others. I say that because I'm a little sarcastic sometimes. Anyway, so at the end of this 90 days, not only was able to grow my businesses, my coaching business, and also my fabrication business that I do with my husband, my steel metal artwork and furniture fabrication business with my husband, but we also managed to manifest, like straight up, a dream property. Like, we had been talking about this dream property for years at this point. And right on it, I ended up extending this personal yoga challenge and continuing after day 90 because it just felt good. I felt the magic. I was in the magic. And on day 97, all of a sudden an opportunity came to invest in this property, to sell our first fixer-upper that Nate and I had first bought back in 2018. I mean, like fixer-upper as in like toilet in the closet, popcorn ceilings, every other room was a different color. We call it the Skittle house. Anyway, we flipped the fixer-upper, we're able to sell our house, and with the profit from the old house, put a down payment and purchase this property, where we have completely transformed this property and our businesses. Anyway, Long story short, this manifested on day 97 of tuning and tapping and turning on my magic. And within 4 days, on day 101 of this adventure of everyday yoga, we were able to sell our house and have an accepted offer on our property within 4 days of the idea, the possibility, the glimmer of light that came through on this investment property. It just felt magical. So magical. And just thinking back on it now, it like gives me chills all over my body thinking about this and how it played out. And I attribute this to the fact that I was able to tune and tap in, turn on my magic, my authentic light, my magnetism within myself, just by simply building the trust within myself and really allowing myself that connection with self. Because like I said before, it's not about us, but it's also about everybody around us and then everybody's other circles, right? Like it's the ripple effect, the tidal wave effect, if you will, the butterfly effect, however you want to put it. It's about that impact that spreads by you tuning in, tapping in, and turning on your magic. You never realize the impact that you're going to create in this life, in this world, especially when you intentionally follow your curiosity, follow your magic, follow your spark, follow your desires. When was the last time, think about it, when was the last time that you really like followed a desire of yours? You followed your curiosity, you followed that spark of magic. Can you see how the bouncing trail led to something beautiful, something to where you are now today? How that magic, how you exploring your magic allowed you to grow into what you know today? Can you think about that? Can you follow that bouncing ball, like I said, from that little spark of magic, that little spark of curiosity? For example, when I sat down on July 27th, 2021 and decided that I was going to tune in to myself every single day by meeting myself on my mat. This was just 20 minutes a day. By the way, it doesn't have to be this whole big thing like where you're going to an hour-long class at the studio every single day that takes 2 hours because of traffic. Yeah. Make it simple, silly, right? Keep it simple, silly. Kiss, right? Isn't that the thing? Keep it simple, silly. I literally just committed to myself 20 minutes every single day. And some days it went longer, and some days it was like at like 10:30 at night rolling around on the floor basically. But it was that intentional time with myself to tap into my energy and be with my energy that I really felt the magic spark. And so a month ago, I started this again, or about a month ago, July 1st this year, I decided I'm going to do this again. I'm going to spend at least 20 minutes every single day on my yoga mat, only this time I'm going to do it till the end of the year. And I can honestly say, I can already feel the shift. We're 27 days in, or I'm 27 days into this personal challenge of mine. I don't even like to call it a challenge. I feel like it's this personal commitment to my growth, this personal exploration of myself, this personal adventure of getting to know myself, love myself, and trust myself at a deeper level. Because self-love is not just like a checkbox one and done. Self-confidence is not just checkbox one and done. None of this personal growth is just like, oh, I'm just gonna check this off my list. I don't have to do that anymore. This is always a practice. Our self-confidence, our self-love, our appreciation, our trust within ourselves is a continual practice. It's a continual evolution. It's a continual growth of our own magic, right? So that also, when we remember this, it takes some of the pressure off, right? It's not like, oh my gosh, I have to reach this finish line, but it's like, oh, this is just the journey of life. And part of that journey is allowing ourselves to enjoy it, right? To create the magic, allow ourselves to experience the magic. And so I keep talking about magic. I named this podcast, The Magic is in You. And I wanted to share this story today of my personal transformation journey a few years ago, because let's share 4 years ago on July 27th, I was in a very different spot. I was having almost daily panic attacks where I was literally sick to my stomach, felt almost incapable of practicing and being like a normal human being, sick with anxiety, going through this crazy huge identity crisis as I had just recently and abruptly closed my massage therapy practice for good that I had cultivated over the last number of years prior to that, where I loved my work. I was passionate about my work. I loved the flow. I loved being able to help people. I loved being able to connect with people. I loved to be able to be there for people, witness people in their pain, in their sorrow, in their grief, but also be able to be there to help them heal. Right? I felt like I was a facilitator of their own healing, right? I've never really resonated with the term healer because I truly believe that we are all healers. I felt like I was a facilitator as a massage therapist. I still feel like I am a facilitator of healing when I'm teaching yoga, when I'm practicing Reiki, when I'm practicing rapid transformational therapy with my clients, when I'm doing coaching sessions. It's not that I am a healer, it is that you are healing yourself. There can be massive healing when we allow ourselves permission to have as a facilitator for our healing, for our growth, for our transformation. Anyway, so I just wanted to give you the contrast because it's not always rainbows, sunshine, and butterflies. Sometimes it is puking your guts out with crazy anxiety almost daily because you're lost in the middle, in the in-between, in the transition that you didn't even know was coming or was planned or anything like that. And that's all part of life's journey, right? I can look back on that time with gratitude and appreciation for how much it strengthened me. It allowed me to build my resilience going through that. It allowed me to understand my mind, my emotions. It allowed me to strip my identities down to nothing because all of a sudden it felt like that's what it felt like, I suppose. Stripping all of the identities that I had held so much appreciation for, and allowed me to realize how much of my self-worth, my self-confidence, my self-trust was just within a title of a licensed massage therapist. It allowed me to get to know myself for just being me without any titles. And so a year later, on July 27th, 2021, I embarked on this adventure of 90 days of yoga. And at the very end, on day like 92 or 93, something like that, at the very end, I went to a little store and I was gonna get myself like a little something to show myself appreciation, to remember this journey, to like just a token of what I had just done, how I had just built so much trust within myself of showing up every single day for 90 days. And I found this beautiful little mug. I still have it. It's a little worn now because it's one of my favorites. But this beautiful little mug, it was white and light pink on the bottom it had gold third eye symbols and some other symbols on it. And right at the bottom in gold on the light pink stripe, it said, "The magic is in you." And it was one of those mugs that when I found it, I was like, oh, this is it. And I picked it up in my hand and I could feel it, and I could feel how much appreciation, how much gratitude I had for this tiny little reminder that the magic is in me, because it's not a concept that I thought that much about while I was on my mat every day for those 90 days. But at the end, when I found this mug, it felt like that's what I had been doing this whole time. That whole 90 days was really, truly tuning in, turning on, and tapping in to my own magic, to my own light, without the titles, without the job description, without the labels that I had put on myself for so long. And so that's what this podcast is about. I want to empower you, inspire you, and allow you to tune in, tap in, and turn on your magic. However that looks for you. Maybe it's not yoga. Maybe you want nothing to do with yoga. Maybe you love that idea. Maybe it's something in your relationships that you want to do. Maybe it's something with writing that you want to do. Maybe it's some sort of other self-expression that you want to tap into, try on. And maybe it's some sort of other adventure that you want to take. Excuse me. Whatever it is, just allow yourself to follow your thread of curiosity, follow your spark of light, follow the little shimmers of life and see where they take you. Because at the end of the day, it's all just one grand adventure. And it's how we choose to show up every single day, how we choose to live our life, what we choose to do with our time here on this earth, this one precious life that we have in this body here now as the being you are. We get to intentionally choose how we want to cultivate our life, how we want to cultivate our experience that we are having here on this earth. And we also get to realize that the power to cultivate what we truly desire is already within us. We get to turn it on. We get to tune in. We get to turn it on. We get to tap into the magic, the power, the light, the impact that is already within inside of us. And if you're wanting help tuning in, tapping in, and turning on your magic, for a limited time right now, I am offering one-on-one intensive sessions to help you tune in, embody your magic, and step into the powerful badass that you know you are inside. If you are curious to learn more about these one-on-one intensives, like I said, I'm just going to be offering them for a short time at the beginning of the launch of this podcast to inspire, empower, and help you tune in, tap in, and turn on to the magic that is already inside of you. So I'll drop the link in the show notes or in the notes below. And I hope this was helpful. I hope that this was inspiring for you. And in love, light, and so much gratitude. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace.